If you own an agency and you're looking to make sales and you're struggling making sales, there's really one thing that needs to change, and that is changing the way you present everything about you from a salesperson to a consultant. I'm going to explain to you a lot of details here in this video on how I've been able to move myself from a salesperson to a consultant. I've been doing this for 11 months now, and for 10 of those months, I have not been able to sell anything until I just did this one thing. This past month, I have brought in $63,500 in sales. Now, that's not profit. Everybody out on YouTube is going to tell you they're making all this money. No, it's not profit, it's sales. What I want to share with you is a little story of how, my sales experience has elapsed over a long period of time and the way that I change things. And I'm going to give you all of the things on the screen behind this camera of what you need to do to be successful in selling this. You don't need to go and build more websites. You don't need to go and have the coolest looking graphic. No, the thing is changing yourself from a salesperson to a consultant. So I worked for a medical company back in the day. I have about 15 years of sales experience, and I lived in Brooklyn, and I worked for a company selling cervical cancer equipment to the hospitals. And so we sold the testing. The testing went on a machine inside the laboratory. Living in Brooklyn, it was very cutthroat, just finding parking alone, and then catching the doctor's attention. Your Instagram account, the only reason that you're watching those videos is because it catches your attention. It creates a problem, and then it provides a solution, and then there's a sale. And that sale from an Instagram video or from you making it this far already, I have hooked you, and I have not positioned myself as a sales rep. And so when I was living in Brooklyn, I had maybe 13 seconds to catch the doctor's attention in the hospital to sit down with him and have him listen to what I had to talk about. So when I first started, I was dressed up in my suit and tie and whatnot. I just looked like everybody else. And if you're selling Go High Level builds, if you're selling custom software, if you have an agency, you look like everybody else. It's just the fact. What I was able to do was, one, I increased the amount of people that I saw every day for the hospitals, because I started driving my motorcycle. I drove my motorcycle, I wore my helmet, I had a leather jacket, I had sneakers and jeans on, and I was not looking like anyone else. So when the doctor walked past me, I would literally ask him a question and say, "Hey doctor, how often do you have a colposcopy where you saw it on the pap smear, but when you did the colpo, did you see any sort of HSIL, the epithelial cells were different?" And he would look at me and be like, "Who the hell is this guy? He's got a motorcycle helmet on so I did something which is called a pattern interrupt. The other sales reps were in the same hallway as me, but he paid attention to me because I caught him off guard. Now, I didn't tell my boss that, but I was able to close a lot of deals because I grabbed their attention and I threw them off without coming across as a sales rep. That was something that I learned kind of by mistake. I just was tired of not finding parking spots. And when I did, I would stay, trying to wait for the doctor. I would get a parking ticket. So I want to show you exactly how I do this and how you can make something called a pattern interrupt inside your sales calls with the right prospects, and where you will get people to respond to you and ask you to pay. So I'm going to show you a little bit of results and why I'm capable of being able to share this with you, because this is super important if you want to be successful in this realm and stand out from everybody else that's doing the exact same thing and struggling. I struggled for 11 months, and there's a couple things that go into it. You can watch my YouTube channel, but this is just strictly how can you position yourself as a consultant, getting them to want to buy rather than being sold to, and the entire process of how I do that. So here's an example of what happens when you position yourself as a consultant and not a sales person. So the client yesterday, today is October 7th, and yesterday at 7 o'clock at night, the client says, "Are we signed and ready to rock?" And I responded, "Not yet. I was going to hit everyone up tomorrow on Monday, but let me know if I need to do anything else." We are already on our side, me and my team. For some reason, I didn't see the girl's email to put her name on the agreement, but everything is updated. To make it easier, here's everything. Here's this proposal for one of their companies. Here's the other proposal for their other company. Once signed, the invoice will be sent out. Thanks, Nick. And he said, "Okay, okay, the girl is out for a couple of days. Change the person's name on the document for me to be the signer. I'll get that done immediately and cover half the invoice. And so what happened is today he paid me half the price. This isn't here to brag. I'm literally trying to teach you and show you how to be a consultative salesperson. So how do we do that, right? Because when most people get on a call, if you're cold calling, if you're trying to get clients, we tend to talk about what we know, how we do it, our team, this, that, and the other thing. And you're really not able to get their attention, like I said with the doctor, because you don't know what they necessarily need. And so I have a few other videos out there selling something for $5,000 and then collecting $600, $800 a month reoccurring is never going to work without doing this process. And this process, what I'm about to show you, will change you from a salesperson to a consultative person and allow you to close deals and have them begging you to pay you like they do for me. I mean, that's just one email, but every single client that I work with, I align myself as a consultant. I am someone on their team. And so in order to do that, there are a few things that you need to do. So your first call, right? You have to be able to prospect. You have to be able to get these people to at least take a meeting. In other videos, I have that. I'll put some links in the description below where you can explore that. But let's just say for this sake is you have people coming in, but you're not able to close them, right? There's pretty much maybe 3 or 4 steps. The first step is you have a 10-minute phone call. A 10-minute phone call, maybe 15 minutes. And you're just having a little chat with them. And no matter what that chat looks like, at the end, you're always going to close them on the next step. You don't necessarily need to explain to them what you do, okay? So for instance, here's how that call would go. Hey, so-and-so, how are you? Nice to meet with you. Thank you for taking the call. I'm just curious as to why did you schedule this call? What's going on in your business? Share with me so you can help me understand, kind of what's going on in your business and what's up. Open-ended questions are amazing. They will allow the potential client, the prospect to just open up. This is hitting their emotional side of their brain. They're not going to talk about what's currently happening. They're going to tell you things like, I wish that we could do this. I wonder if there's a way to do this. I don't know how to do this, but ideally it would operate like this. Okay. And that's what you want. Once you get that, you get them to talk a little bit about it. Be a human, talk back to them, ask them questions. If you don't understand something, ask them and say, cool, look, every single time. The way that I operate is I will build out a document for you so we can pull everything you just told me in your head and document it on a piece of paper. And on this piece of paper, we will be able to figure out kind of where you want to be. Not necessarily where you are, but where does your company want to be with some sort of system, right? You might be using Calendly and you might be using Zapier, MailChimp and ClickFunnels and Go High Level and all these things, right? It's a convoluted system that they have. That's why they took the call with you. What you're going to tell them is I charge X amount of dollars to do this. It takes myself and my team maybe 6 or 7 hours to get this organized. And what that's going to allow you to do, Mr. Customer, is it's going to allow you to make a decision. And that decision is whether or not you and I work together in the future on building all of this, or you now have an entire document for you to take with you. Internally, you can hire a team. Externally, you can go and find somebody that can do it. And you have this entire document. Without this document, no one, no matter who you spoke to, who you're going to speak to after me, is going to be able to give you a price because I have no idea how or what you need built, right? And so at that point, now you're not trying to sell them anything. You're giving them the option to go out. It does 2 things. It qualifies the lead. It qualifies that client on the phone. Are they willing to pay $150 to figure out what they need? And the other thing is it allows you to save so much extra time. If they don't pay for that, you don't need to follow up with them. They're not important. They're not someone that you need to work with. They're not willing to put $150 or $200 or $500 behind an important document. And I'm going to show you what that document looks like in a second. What that does is it prevents you from wasting time and it lets you know if they're serious or not. And so after that, you send them an invoice, send it in Go High Level, so however you want to get it. And then this is what that phone call looks like. You get on the phone and you create what we call a initial project scope document. This is someone I spoke to the other day. We had that first 10-minute call. He paid $250 to have this document created. This is a rough draft. This is my phone call, and I'm going to walk you through it. So you tell the client, listen, we're going to do this a couple of different ways, and I'm going to share this and show you how to do this. This is always done on Zoom. We have what we call a pipeline and a workflow. Each pipeline stage coincides with the workflow. The pipeline is where the client or where your lead is or wherever the person is in the customer journey. And so the workflow coincides directly with where they are in that pipeline stage. And so now we have actions. You sit there and you talk to them. The first time, every single time on the second call after they pay for the initial consultation is we know that you have a new lead. That new lead, we're going to go from A to Z. A meaning they just discovered you, they just found out, they filled something out, an advertisement, whatever it is, to Z of when do they pay you, right? And sometimes what do they do after they pay you? What happens after? For here, you always start with a new lead. Where do you get the leads from? And you start to write this down. 001 new lead, right? And then you go hand in hand with the workflow. So, okay, we both agree that we're going to get a new lead and they come from a Facebook form or a form on your website, right? Maybe they come from an Instagram DM, a Facebook message, an email, wherever the case is. Every business is going to be different. And then you ask them what needs to happen when you get that new lead. In this case, we're going to build out a custom built AI software for this client and they need to qualify that lead, right? Okay, great. Now, Mr. Client, what I'm going to tell you is that if we decide to work together, we will go deeper in depth with this. But for this sake right here, you're going to be able to just get a document. This isn't the final document. I'll show you what the final document looks like. But you let them know that, okay, this is kind of a synopsis, a 30,000 foot approach to your business to get everything out of your head, put it on paper. Then we go over here and we say, okay, for this case, they want them to be on a live workshop, right? And this is every Thursday. So he's telling me like, okay, yeah, what happens is we want to get them on our Thursday call. Cool. What happens if they can't make it on Thursday? And now you start asking questions. And when you start asking questions, you get them to see their problems that they did not understand or they didn't know that they had. And in this case, he was like, I don't know. I mean, I guess we always just try to get them there on Thursdays. I'm like, what happens if someone's traveling? What happens if someone's in the hospital? What happens if they overslept? What happens if they got a call in for work? And he's like, I don't know. And I said, well, would you be down to make a landing page of the best video workshop that you have? And then if they didn't make it, you send them there. So that does one of two things. One, now I'm upselling them. They don't even know that I'm upselling them, right? And so if I make an extra landing page, that's going to cost more money for me to make it. And so again, I'm consultatively selling this. I'm getting them to see the problems. He did not know what he would do on Thursdays, and he's been doing this a long time. So if he gets, let's say the webinar's at 11 in the morning on Thursday, and he gets a new lead at 12:30 p.m., an hour and a half after that webinar just ended. And now that person from Thursday at 12:30 has to wait an entire week to come back. That seems pretty crazy. So when I asked him, if you get 10 people on the webinar, how many people can you close? And he's like, I closed like maybe 2 to 3. Okay, how many of those people register for the webinar and they don't show up? Now you're asking questions and you're getting him to see that, I have a problem that I didn't know. My close rate is great, 30%, 20%. Yeah, but it could be even higher if you had a landing page to get them there. So you see how you're not sitting there and telling them that they need to do it. You're asking the questions, and that person is now seeing the importance of a landing page for a replay, which they don't know yet that I'm going to charge extra for. But the price becomes irrelevant. And why does the price become irrelevant? Because at this point, now he's realized for every close, I make $1,500. At 3 closes, he's making $4,500. If I can increase that and get people to go to a webinar landing replay page, he now is excited because he knows his close rate is 20 or 30%, depending on if he closes 2 or 3. But if I can get more people there, that's worth way more money than the $2,000 that I would sell the landing page for. Now you're in this mindset of consultatively selling in a normal conversation, the same way that I'm in this conversation with you now. And so then we go through here, and we always want to make sure that we are moving in a linear line from left to right. the further right they are, the closer they are to pulling out their wallet and getting paid. If they're not moving to the right, they're moving backwards. So we always put this backwards, right? It looks a little funny, and that's a common question that clients have. And I explain it to them as if they're a fifth grader so that they understand that I am the expert here. I'm going to change your business. You're going to tell me the problems that you're having, and I'm going to find that solution. And if you can figure out their problems and provide the solution, you will always make a sale. And so after they go on to the webinar, I asked him, what do they do? He said they would book a call for a one-on-one session with me where I sell them. Okay, what happens if they don't book a call or they don't show up? The AI will come through and it will follow up with them to book a call, and it will get them to go to the replay website to get them to book that one-on-one call with them. What happens after they book a call? They either have a split in the road. They're not interested. They don't qualify. They didn't want to buy it. Okay, what do we do there? The AI will go out and speak with them. What if they do purchase? Well, in this case, he has an entire onboarding process with his entire team. And I told him, listen, if you already have that operating and work, then let's do this in milestones. Again, now he's not worried about me trying to sell him anything. I'm respecting his time. I'm respecting his business. And I'm telling him, work in an indirect way. We're going to partner up. I'm going to be your fractional development team to bring this to life based on the problems that you keep telling me that you're having. So I go through and I told him, there's no reason for me to go in. If it's not broken, don't fix it. We can go back and look at that later when we have the AI operating and working for all of this. And we get the web page up and running. We get the landing page for the replay, and we tell the AI, hey, go watch the replay. They watch the replay, they get tagged, whatever. I don't explain anything about Go High Level at this point. I do not even bring it up. I just talk about the pipeline and the workflow. And so we go through and we make all of this. And then we get into the assets. What do you need? Whose calendar are they going to book it on, right? Then I ask them, okay, how would we be able to do this? These are my notes for my team, right? I send this off to them and they go and they figure it out. So I'm still waiting for this. This was a conversation I had yesterday. And so this call right here takes about maybe 30 to 45 minutes at most. And they paid for it. So that does two things. It qualifies them, and it also makes the next phone call way easier. Why? Because now you're not reaching out to them and asking them to get on another call. You're telling them that, hey, your document is ready, and when you're ready, we can schedule a call so I can deliver it to you. And here is the crazy part. That piece of paper, this completed document, is actually the proposal. So you are selling the proposal to them without them knowing. This proposal is now adjusting you from being a salesperson to a consultant, and they paid for it. And you saved yourself so much headache in the follow-up process. The reason being is because the next phone call is you telling them that their document is ready so that they have the choice of either working with you or going and finding somebody else. You also are avoiding so many unnecessary text messages and the F word. Hey, it's Nick. I just wanted to follow up with you. No, you now are sending them a text message or an email and saying, hey, me and my team finished this document for you to now take your business to the next level. Here's my calendar link. Let me know when you have time and I can present it to you because this is what you paid for. That eliminates the entire sales aspect back and forth. You're just letting them know, hey dude, your document's ready. Let me know when you want to get on a call. Here's my calendar. I'll see you when I see you. And you're really selling them a proposal. And that proposal is now giving you the price that you or your team or whoever needs to know in order for you to sell it. And I always tell them, if someone is giving you a price for what you're asking me, and they do not have this document, they are making shit up. There is absolutely no way that anyone could give you a price because you need to know, I need to know, my team needs to know what it is exactly that we are building. This example right here, I just sent this off yesterday. This is a different one. Here, this is the document that they paid for that you present to them. And this right here is the proposal. Mr. Client, we want to enhance investor tracking management. We want to streamline the lead and the webinar management. We want to optimize communication. And I read every single word on this 7-page document. And I go slowly and I remember what we spoke about. The desired outcomes. We want to increase webinar traffic from your Thursday calls. This is going to amount in more revenue for you because you have a 20 to 30% close rate. And what you're telling telling me is that if we get more people to watch that webinar, you are going to make more money. And you're reiterating the problem that they told you so that they see it. And when we get to the bottom of this page, they are not going to be surprised by the amount, because why? They know that that one little fix that they forgot about, they didn't even know they had that problem, is going to fix and increase the amount of revenue that their business is going to make. And they just saw you as a problem solver, and they are not going to have as much pushback as they would if you told them, hey, I make custom CRMs. Hey, I can do chatbots. Hey, I can automate your Google reviews with this company called Go High Level. It's a CRM, and we can do this and we can do that. At this point, I still have not brought up the word Go High Level. I have not said anything about that until the end. Sometimes people have already been using Go High Level, and you can mention it and kind of find that common ground with that person and say, oh yeah, we're experts at Go High Level, but everything really starts from this document. And I'm not going to discuss anything about Go High Level until we have this operating working document that you and I are both on the same page. And I charge 150, I charge 250, I charge 500. It takes me 6 to 7 hours to do it. And in order for us to move forward, if you want, I will create this document, and it will be the exact blueprint of how we can build this inside Go High Level, but we need to get this done first. And so I go through the desired outcomes, and then I give them the deliverables, and I walk them through their customer journey. Someone opts in, they go to your website, they called a Google ad, they filled out a Facebook ad. Then the AI is going to go out and it's going to qualify them and ask them a few questions, and it's going to get them to your Thursday workshop. And if they don't show up to the workshop, then we are going to send the AI out and have them go and watch the replay. And if they watch the replay, we're going to get them to sign up for the one-on-one call on your calendar. And that calendar is going to be to Eric. And Eric is going to then close those people. And what you told me in the last conversation was that you guys have a full system in place that we're going to do human takeover, meaning you're going to onboard them yourselves. Once we build this, if you enjoy it, you like it, it's working, it's doing amazing things, and you see the value in it, then we can go back and we can do milestone number 2 and help you automate and fix or do anything for your onboarding process. But this is just for this. I remember you told me that the other day, blah, blah, blah. And you just go through this one step at a time. You do not skip any of these. You go through and you explain it. And now they are building trust with you because you spent the time to listen. You spent the time to build this. Your team is organized. And when you get to the bottom and you start explaining them how it's going to work in the workflow, you're going to say, okay, we're going to tag it. We're going to send the lead to A001, this folder. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. You're going to do this. The trigger is the pipeline stage to the investor portal sign up. The trigger is they clicked on the Zoom link in their calendar under a trigger link. We called it trigger link. It's UTM parameters. That's going to allow the AI to know when to send out a specific message. Again, Mr. Client, I know you have a lot of questions. This is a 30,000 foot approach. Once we decide to work together, this document is actually going to turn into about a 75-page document. And this is where you meet my project manager and you meet my team. And now we get into the nitty-gritty and we go through and we really hone in on your business to make sure that everything is flowing properly and you have an entire system in place. And this is what my team builds. It's absolutely insane. It's amazing. These are the most organized things. And the second that you show them this, if they paid for this call, their lights, their eyes will completely light up because now you have proven to them that you know what the fuck you're doing and you know how to do it, and you have insulated everything with your team. Now, if you don't have a team, let me pause there for a second. I have a very valuable fractional development team that you're more than welcome to join our group, and you can use them, speak with them, talk to them. All of us are in this group together, and you will have access to daily calls, daily Zoom calls to help you building, including myself. I'll include something in the description below, but this is the type of work, this is the output that we put in and we give to you to make these types of sales. So when they see this, they are absolutely amazed as to, wow, okay, I get it. And this right here is now answering every question that they had. This phone call, you just go through and you say, look, this is a 30,000 foot approach. If we decide to work together after this call, this is what you can expect from me and my team, okay? So, or if we don't decide to work together, you can just take this and you can go to someone else find them on Upwork, find them on internally. You can have somebody do this, right? But they've already paid. You've shown them how organized you are. You've proven to them that you are a consultant and not a salesperson. Their guard is completely down. They're asking you a million questions. You're answering them. You're listening to them, and they are just ready to know what is the price. You go through what are the assets, what's this, and then you kill them with kindness and you tell them, before I get to the price, I'm going to show you the entire process of how this will work and how you don't have to be necessarily a part of it, because we, Mr. Client, are taking amazing care of you during this entire build. So what we're going to do is I'm going to present to you the timeline structure. The first week, we're going to gather the information to be able to make this entire detailed scope project. It's not a week of your time. It's a week of my team's time. We might have to jump on a call for maybe 45 minutes on a Zoom call, maybe 2. It's dependent on your schedule. We are in this together, but we're going to go through and we're going to understand the very specific needs that you wanted to ask me during this call. That's what we're going to do. The entire design and the initial build is going to take 5 weeks, could take 6 weeks. These numbers change. We're going to develop the CRM system. We're going to be in a ticketing system so that when my team needs something from you, you get a notification, you upload it, our team is working on it, and it's all just flowing amazingly. We're going to test it. We're going to build fake accounts. We're going to go through your funnel. We're going to go through your entire website. We're going to try to break the AI. We're going to do everything and anything that we can to find the holes and the cracks to where this is perfected. And then what we're going to do is we're going to train your employees. We're going to give you SOPs so that when you have someone leave and you have to hire somebody, they have the entire documentation on how to do their job inside what we discussed, this thing called Go High Level. Super easy. We'll tell you how to do it. It'll run itself. You'll have the documentation, and we'll train you so that you and your staff can have a full CRM implementation. And then we're basically going to give you a 4-week warranty. That 4-week warranty, anything breaks, anything messes up, we'll go in, we'll fix it, no problem. And the idea is we don't ever need to use this. Why? Because we are all on the same page from this and from this, that everything is working properly. And so we will throw in 4-week thing. How do we get paid? We're going to do this in milestones. And this is where you can work with that client and you tell them, look, Mr. Client, to do all of this, it's $11,000. To do all of this, it's $19,000. To do all of this, it's $5,000. And so usually I typically do a 50% upfront and a 50%, upon delivery, whatever you want to do, whatever they feel comfortable with. And so at this point, you have a completely relaxed client, someone who is begging you to pay for this because it's beyond organized. You're now the consultant, the fractional technology officer for that client. This is the way that you get those types of emails, because you now are able to position yourself as a consultant and not a salesperson. These people who listen to this and go through this now want to buy from you. When I present a $6,000, an $11,000 build, after going through this, they've already spoken to 10, 15. I had one lady speak to 40 different people. And when I showed her this, she was like, oh my God, I'm in. Yes, can we start on this? She had a $4,000 budget and we sold it for $11,000. And so that's what it costs, because we do our due diligence and we work on it. And even if she saw this video, she would be like, yeah, everything was great. How does this work? I know I spoke a lot about all of this. We do have a group. I have a bunch of links in the description below. And so I will leave you with this. I had a call in one of our calls. I have an open Zoom call every Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern time. In the links below, you're more than welcome to join. This is where we do all kinds of stuff like this. And the question I have for you is, if I could help you prospect and get you a bunch of different leads to where they're getting on calls with you and they're paying this $150 for you, I would not mind getting on a call with you and being introduced as your business partner. I can help you close the deal if you don't have this extensive sales, education, skill, experience, whatever you want to call it. And so it's kind of how things work in life, right? You go to the 7-Eleven, you buy a soda, the 7-Eleven purchased it for $1, 7-Eleven sold it to you for $2. We have a team that that does exactly that. What you can do is be able to scale this. So the build might cost $5,000 to build it. We would sell it to the client for $8,000, and I will help you close that deal. If you needed a salesperson on that call, I could take $1,000 and you keep $2,000, right? In this example, 5,000 sold for 8, you keep 2, I keep 1, and then you can charge whatever you want on the back end for your monthly, like $397 or $597 to use Go High Level or the software or whatever it is. So I'm very open to that. Now I'm going to ask, now I want you to think of the reaction that you just had. Is that a hell yeah? Like, I want that. That's amazing. That's cool. Now, that was me selling this to you consultatively. Listen to how I rephrase this. You're more than welcome to have me on your sales calls. I charge $1,000 to close deals. I will close your deals for you, but you have to pay me $1,000. That's how much I charge. You see the difference? The end result is still the same. I positioned the first example to explain to you in a way that you got excited. The second one is most likely if you're watching this video and you made it this far and you've been struggling selling this because you positioned yourself as a salesperson. You're thinking about the money before you're thinking about their problems. That example has the same end result. I'm still going to make $1,000 off your sale, but I positioned it the first way to get you excited because I put a story in there of your struggle if you made it this far in the video, and you were excited, I assume. The second one is I tried to sell you something. And so that is what you need to think about when you are selling and trying to find clients and getting these clients on calls and maybe being ghosted or having struggle with following up, is because you did not fully change from a salesperson to a consultative person. In the next video, you will learn how to prospect properly to get people that are willing to pay you $150. I'll see you in the next video.